Welcome back. Welcome back. We're here. It's the Bet Online Salute to Troy podcast. We got your girl, world-class class athlete, Candice David Price.
Hey.
We got the man, Ryan Dyrute, a.k.a. Rye, and it's your boy, your host as usual, Al Rowe. We're back. So we're going to discuss a couple of things. We're going to recap what happened on Saturday. We're going to tell you, amongst all of us, we're going to tell you 5 good, 5 bad things we would love to see change. And we're going to keep moving forward. I'm going to start this thing off. Let's start with the 5 good. The 5 good things we did see on Saturday is number one. Number one, as a true freshman, has a bunch of upside. And he does not have a ceiling right now, right? We don't know what's going to happen in the future. You can't predict what's going to happen in the future. But you have to give him the ball. Putting the ball in his hands is probably the best thing possible. People are comparing him to a former USC player. I'm not going to give him that yet, and I'm not going to say it yet. I'll wait until his junior year when we're in a big studio by then, and we'll have millions of followers. You know what I mean? But you have to get the ball in number one's hands. Number one, impress me. Keep him on special teams. Number one, I'm going to say this. Number one needs to be like Ezekiel Elliott his rookie year with the Cowboys. So if you give him the ball by handing the ball off to him, if you give the ball by throwing it to him, but he needs at least 10 minimum touches a game. You give number one 10. I don't know. You're putting me on the spot. I can find out real quick.
I'll look while you're talking.
Yeah.
Okay, so, just curious.
Yeah, he needs at least 10 minimum touches. He's the guy. Every time he touches the ball, you're going to hold your breath, right? So what that does now is you have 2 people every time the ball's in their hand, you're going to hold your breath. That right there changes everything, and that makes you a national contender, right? So the whole goal is to become a national contender, keep up with the best, and they're a number 6 team in the nation. So you have 2 threats on offense now when you are in – not even on offense, even on special teams. So when you're having team meetings, you have to plan for this dude in 2 phases of football, right? And the goal is always to win 3. So now you're planning for this dude in 2 phases of football. And if he starts getting carries as long as with passes, now that's really scary because you're going to have to plan for him with 2. You're going to have to plan for him 2 different ways. And then you also have to plan for Caleb. And then don't let those freshman receiver get good because once the freshman receiver get into stride, it's really going to be a nightmare. So, there's a ton of upside there, right? But number one, Jupiter is his limit. Jupiter is his limit. We're not even going to stop him at the sky. Jupiter is his limit. So he has a bunch of potential.
So he had 5 touches. He had 4 targets, 4 catches, and 1 carry, plus obviously the special team stuff.
Right. That's not enough.
Yeah.
That's not enough.
I agree. Let me ask you this. And first of all, thanks for welcoming us. Hello. We could say hi, right? Hi, how are you?
Yeah, hi.
You just jumped right into it. Not even how's it going? What's happening on this Monday?
I'm sorry, guys.
You're so excited.
Just pumped. Trojan football's back.
Yeah. Candice is a softball champion, you guys. I just want to let you guys know. She won the softball championship 8:30 Eastern time. So there you go.
See, that's stuff we need to know. That's valuable information. So let me ask both of you guys this then. So let's go to you first, Candice, and then for Dio. So more touches for number one, Zachariah Branch. But when you just look at all the mouths, Dorian Singer, Mario Williams, Makai Lemon is a freshman. You got Brendan Rice, all these, you got Deuce Robinson, who's a 5-star fraud. Who do you take away from to get him? Is it going to piss anyone off, or you just say, I don't care, this guy needs 10 and we'll figure out the rest?
I don't know. I'm giving your boy Lincoln Riley credit again because Al says I'm just so tough on him, but I kind of feel like there was more strategic on his coaching effort, right? Everyone got a little bit of touch, and whose opportunity was it going to be to shine? So now when he does get his 10 touches and they're taken away from that entire bunch, then it's like he's close to outshined our Heisman Trophy winner, right? So there's a lot of justification in everyone got an opportunity. I was once told everyone had opportunity to have the same resources, and look what was done with them, right? So I kind of feel like, as we talked about on Sunday, there was an opportunity for everyone to shine, and your megastar outshined everyone. So I don't think that I think that Lincoln Riley plays chess. Strategically, he was looking to see who shines, and now he can start setting his schemes around that guy with no questions and no pushback.
So here's the deal. We said minimum 10 touches, right? That's 5 receptions, 5 carries.
It seemed like he had way more than 5 touches.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Because he's so electric, but that's five handoffs, 5 carries. 5 handoffs, 5 passes, right? 5 receptions. That's easy. Lincoln Riley could get that done in the first half, right? So the thing about it is, and I don't know why they didn't do it on Saturday, but Austin Jones should be your number 1 back.
And that's your guy.
Yeah, that's my guy.
That's your guy.
I'm a favorite. But you got to remember, like, and we were on the show last year, Ryan, when Travis Dye got hurt, and he was like, "Well, what do they do?" I was like, "I'm not worried. Austin Jones, they're going to run power now. Power is God's play. You can run power, and if you dominate power, right, then you have the game won. No, even in today's football, like, so you could give Zachariah Branch, you could give him a bunch, you could give him 5 carries, and it could be fly sweep, right? It could be any type of toss. They ran a play off of jet motion. They ran a play on Saturday where they motioned Zachariah Branch, Caleb Williams, and they ran an option play, like old school Rich Rod. So there's more than 1,000 ways to get him the ball, to have him pop a big play and still keep everybody happy. Now, here's the good thing about it. You start game planning on Zachariah Branch, now everybody becomes open, right? You can only key in on 1 player, right? Yep. You can't key in on 2. So you got to take your pick. Are you going to key in on Zachariah Branch? Or are you going to key in on Caleb Williams? Now, Makai Lemon comes open. Austin Jones starts to pop big runs. Brenden Rice, who I'm also a big Brenden Rice fan. Brenden Rice is, he's the guy that you don't game plan against and he'll pop you, right? Yep. All these receivers, they have 13 receivers.
Dorian Singer might be the best receiver in the Pac-12.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and Dorian Singer's the guy from Arizona. So like there's going to be weeks where these guys are not going to have a lot, but there's going to be weeks where these guys have a lot, right? So Zachariah Branch might only have 80 yards and a kickoff return, but Dorian Singer might have 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. So there's plenty of talent. There's plenty of ball to go around. You just have to strategically do it. And Lincoln Riley understands it, right? You said Mario Williams. I think Mario Williams, and it sucks. I don't think there's a spot for him. I think Lincoln Riley out-recruited him. And it is what it is. That's fine. But Mario Williams is going to be a guy, if he stays at SC next year, he's going to get drafted 3rd, 4th round, and he's going to be a star in the NFL. It's just not right now because there's better talent but Mario Williams is going to be like Brenden Rice. It's going to be a game where Mario Williams is going to show out, or it might be 3 games where Mario Williams show out. He still have the game plan against him, and he's still an aspect. So there's plenty of ball to go around.
See, I not to push back, but I kind of think there is actually a lot of opportunity for Mario Williams this year. And he's kind of within the media. He's kind of the forgotten receiver. Yeah. But he was starting on the depth chart going into week 1. Part of that's familiarity because there are so many new guys. But I just think as that true slot guy, like he has now, obviously Zachariah Blanche can play all over, but Dorian's a true X or Y. Brenden Rice, I think, is a true X or Y, and Mario is kind of a true slot. So I think there's still opportunity for him now, whether or not, he ends up getting phased out, if you will, just because of the younger talent coming up. That has to be seen. But I think he's going to be very involved in what's, I think, exciting for me, Al and Candice, this year is, when you looked at last year's offense, when Jordan Addison was clearly the best receiver on the team last year. Clearly. Like when he was injured for some of those games, obviously Caleb did what Caleb does. He won the Heisman, but it was like there wasn't a guy that stepped up in Addison's absence. Mario had a couple good moments. Rice obviously had the huge game against Tulane. But outside of that, it wasn't like a guy just really took off. And whereas this year, every week it could be someone else. Like next week could be Dorian. The week after that could be Mario's game. Then Zach's game again. Then Brenden Rice. Like there's so much talent now that you don't have just one guy that can pop off. It can be 6 guys on any given Saturday.
I agree. I 100% agree. I don't disagree with that at all. It could be, and that's the beauty of what they did recruiting wise, and that's how much they've got better at the skill position.
Your guy Lincoln, like there's just more strategy. Like anybody had access to that transfer portal. So whatever Lincoln Riley was selling at USC, these kids were buying and they were believing in it. And he's got their buy-in, right? So everyone had the same access. There might be a little bit of glitz and glamour with palm trees and Los Angeles, but the reality of it is you got Georgia losing players to USC. And don't get me wrong, Lincoln Riley's great, but he's nothing spectacular. So for whatever he's got this team drinking the Kool-Aid, you got the buy-in of these guys. Also, I just felt like my core, Lincoln Riley was trying to give just a sprinkle of what he had available just to kind of distract, like, okay, if we pull this guy at the game, we pull this guy at the game, you don't really shut them down. The only thing we're concerned about is the defense. But I don't know if that's because of the offense was able to put up so many points with so many players in so many creative ways that the defense just looked like
Yeah, we'll get to the defense when we talk about our 5 improvements.
Okay.
But
one more point, Al and Candice, our minds are like exactly thinking the same way, because on the transfer portal thing, I think what's so, and you guys may have talked about this, but I haven't talked about it with you. I think what's so impressive with how deep this room is all these guys had the potential to transfer out also, seeing how many mouths there were to feed. So whatever culture has been built and the buy-in, the Kool-Aid, whatever you want to call it's built, these are guys knowing they're not going to be the shiny diamond of the offense. Like, it's going to be give and take. And there's going to be some weeks where they have 2 catches, some weeks where they have 8. And so that, I think, is a huge storyline of just the buy-in of this culture, that they want to be a part of it, because, you know, Mario could have gone to any other school he probably wanted to and been the number 1 receiver there. And he's number 5 here at SC. So I think that just shows the buy-in, which is cool.
Well, I mean, Bear could have went to UCLA because he could have been Bear and played off of that, right? But he came to be a Trojan.
That's right. There
That's
you go.
true. But so
Bear Bruin.
So just speaking off of transfer portal, and this is just my prediction, and it may not come true, but I believe the SEC schools are going to struggle when it comes to NIL and transfer portal. I understand these schools could give you a lot of money and they can match the offer, but here's the difference, right? If I'm the Pac-12 player of the week, that very same week, I'm throwing out the first pitch at the Dodger game. If I'm the Pac-12 player of the week, that very same week, I'm sitting floor side at the Laker game and I'm getting honored on the scoreboard. I'm sitting glass side at the Kings game and I'm getting honored on the scoreboard, right? I could go anywhere in LA. I could be on
Jimmy Kimmel,
right? I could be on anything at the drop of a dime just because I'm in LA, right? I could have a billboard now because I was a Pac-12 player of the week, just like that, right? So you can't do that in Tuscaloosa. You can't do it in Athens. You can't do it in Baton Rouge. You can't do it in Gainesville. You can't do it in College Station. You could do it in Nashville, right? But Nashville's very. You can't do it in Norman, Oklahoma. Nope. You can't do it in Austin because Austin's almost 7 hours away from Dallas, right? So maybe closer to Houston. Probably you could get to Houston faster than Austin, but you can't really do it there. I understand the money's the same, but I went from being a kid to being a celebrity in Los Angeles, California. Can't offer that in Tuscaloosa. I don't care what you say. I could go hang out with the Kardashians as an 18-year-old. Like, seriously. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just like that, I could go hang out with the Kardashians. Like, I'm going to school with Kobe Bryant's daughter. Like, there's so many things.
Aren't the Obama's daughters at USC?
One of the Obama.
Yeah, one of them transferred from Michigan to go there.
Right. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I could go to school with the Obama's daughters. Like, I'm hanging out with celebrities. Like, the goal is to be a celebrity. And now with NIL, I could be a celebrity in college.
But Al, that was always the standard at USC, and that's why I'm so protective.
It was the standard, but we couldn't sit floor side. Excuse me. We couldn't sit floor side at Laker games. We couldn't throw out the first pitch at Dodger games.
You're right.
You could do that now. I could be on ESPN throwing out the first pitch with a custom-made Dodger jersey that I get to keep now because it's not a violation. With my
Caleb Williams has a Dodger bobblehead. There was
Dodger bobblehead, right?
That's like 2 weeks ago. It was Caleb Williams Dodger bobblehead.
Yes,
it's badass. Yeah,
you could do that now. Like, I could go to the Dodger game and I could wear. Do you understand if I was the Pac-12 player of the week and the Dodgers called me to throw out the first pitch and I get a Dodger jersey with my number on it, with my name on it? Do you know how happy I would be being a kid from LA, a Dodger fan, my whole life? like that's everything. Like, I played for USC and I got to throw out the first pitch for the Dodgers and I get to watch the Lakers floor side. Like,
well, think about how much talent we had with, you have my guy, Desmond Reed's on my list, but you got Reggie Bush, You had Desmond Reed, who could have went anywhere else and been, a part of it. But guys will be willing to come and be that role player like a Desmond Reed just because of all the things that you said.
Right. Exactly. Me, I was a role player, but hey, if they offer me floor side seats at a Lakers game, be like, here's $250 to do a little promo, I will be there with no problem. I would have been there with no problem. So
give me a free hot dog. I'm there.
You know what I mean?
No, give me free parking and I'm there. Any free parking in the way, sign me up.
Yeah. Before we move on to our next few points of the positive from Saturday, I want to remind you guys, it is the first week of college football, and the first week of college football means you have to get your bets in, get all your parlays in, covers your odor, play your money lines, and the best place to do that is BetOnline. BetOnline.ag has everything that you need up to the minute live action. They have all the latest spreads. They have all the analysis that you need. That's betonline.ag. Not only that, BetOnline will give you a 50% welcome bonus if you use promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. I got it right this time, Ryan. Promo code BLEAV. Go to betonline.ag. That's where the game starts. All right, let's move forward. Another good thing that I saw. So I went back watching YouTube. Those safeties are good. Those safeties are good. Those safeties are good. Really
USC
good.
safeties, you're saying, right? Williams and Bullock?
Yes. Yeah. So watching it, I went back and watched the game from the best that I can, but those safeties are good. They're true tacklers. They're over the top of a lot of things. They blew some stuff, but I don't know if I don't know their scheme to know if they blew it or if the corner blew it or something wasn't there. But for the most part, those safeties are good. And here's the good thing about those safeties. They're young. Those are young dudes. One of them's a sophomore. We might lose Bullock because he's a junior. And if they talk about Thursday draft, he's gone. But those safeties are good. Those safeties are really good.
I take that from you because the way you were breaking down them defenses the other day, you're a pretty critical guy. So we know that they good if you stay and they good.
Those safeties, they're really good. They're really good. And I think they were just getting their feet wet. And a lot of people don't know, it takes 4 games to get in game shape. It takes 4 games for the game to slow down for you because you've been going at practice for a whole month, going at practice speed, which is still fast, but game is faster. It takes 4 games to do that. So, like, when you see these first 4 games, you see players huffing and puffing, they're playing at a higher pace than they normally play. Here's a perfect example, Candice. When you run your very first 110 of the year, right? You're in shape. You feel good working out. You run your very first 110 of the year. All of a sudden, you get over that last hurdle, run those last meters, you cross the finish line. You're like, damn. You know what I mean?
You're dragging. That's a great analogy, though. And I like how you connect that perspective because it's important to remember that everyone's not an elite athlete or even plays at the college level. So when people see that, they're like, oh, the tempo is this. A practice tempo is not nearly the same as a competition. That adrenaline's not pumping. The stadium's not roaring. There's so many factors that go into a performance. So
right.
I feel you.
So them getting their feet wet, after game 4, you're going to be like, oh man, these dudes are good. They're going to be begging Bullock to stay. They're going to beg him to stay.
Because he could very well make a lot of money.
Right. So it's a decision that he has to make. Does he want to does he want to make that money or does he want to make that money? Like, so does he want to be a jobber? Does he still want to party at the 9-0? So those are the questions that they have to ask.
Tough call. Who does I mean, I don't even know if you like doing this, Al, but I love doing player comps. It's, whatever. It's fun.
Yeah.
Like, is there a safety out in the NFL that you kind of see Bullock comping to?
Bullock
based on his size and play style?
Bullock is taller than him, but they probably weigh the same. But Bullock reminds me of Bob Sanders.
Okay. And that's to me, it kind of reminds me of like a Justin Simmons because Simmons kind of that wiry frame.
Yeah.
And, he's a better tackler than giving credit, but he's not like a thumper.
Right.
That's kind of where I see the comp there. The only thing I'll say about the safeties is what's really exciting is Bullock's great. I mean, if the season goes well, he'll be a first-round pick. Max Williams, I think, is extremely underrated. But the fact that you have, redshirt sophomore Zion Branch, who's basically just getting up to speed from missing all of last year, and he's probably the most talented out of the whole group. And so it's exciting that he'll maybe by week 4, 5, 6, he'll be in the rotation too.
Yeah, that'd be good if he
had a great fall camp.
That's perfect. That's a good deal. Yep. Before we move on, do you guys have anything else that you guys want to discuss that you guys are happy with from Saturday's game?
Go ahead, Candice. What what's a point you loved from Saturday's game?
I mean, we talked about it. I was just happy to see Zachariah. I mean, I haven't seen that type of player in a long time at USC, and I was
Don't say the name. Don't say the name. We're not saying the name yet.
I saw Matt compared to one of his former teammates, and I thought that was a pretty certified credential to come from Matt Leinart. So I won't say any names, but there was some we talked about it. My era, our era, they're seeing stuff on YouTube and big pads, and the game is looking pixelated. That it feels like 1970 to them, right? So to some guys, this is their Reggie Bush, or this is their Linda White. They don't know that. You know what I mean? I don't know Marcus Allen. I don't know OJ Simpson. So to them, this is going to be their era. And I'm very excited about that. I just felt like USC was missing that. And again, back to your boy, Lincoln Riley, he put some stuff together. And I just feel like it's strategic again. Some people in California like football, but not like in the SEC, not like in the Midwest. They die for this, right? LA is about glitz, glamour, fame, fast, and explosion. So him being that electrifying player are going to fill those Coliseum seats. It's going to keep boosters happy. It's going to want donors to donate more. And we know USC is all about that. So seeing that electrifying guy out there again, it's got me excited. I'm going to have to stay up late for games now.
There you go. That's good. Keep Candice up late. For me, Alfred, I'm going to spin this in a way because it's going to sound surprising, but I'm going to spin this in a way that makes sense. And it's week 0. So we want to see improvement. There's obviously stuff to fix and get better at, but overall, I thought a positive was the rush defense. And so let me explain myself, because I know they gave 198 yards on the ground, but when you really break it down, they gave up to their main running back, Conley. They gave up one 57-yard run. Outside of that, he had under 60 yards rushing for the game. And in the quarterback, they had some broken plays where they gave up 52 total yards to him on 10 kind of broken rush plays. Outside of that, they were under 80 yards total on the day. And so those are obviously part of it. That's included in the stat line. We're giving up big broken plays. They gave up touchdowns on it. But when you look at a body of work to grow upon in week 0, I thought overall the rush defense looked more fortified. The front line with the likes of Kyron Bars, Bear Alexander looked much better. I thought Mason Cobb and Tackett Curtis looked great as your second defense in the linebacker unit. So there was some issues on the edge, as we talked about on the live show. They're giving up some busted plays and obviously not doing contain the quarterback as he did the scramble drill. But those are all fixable things. I thought overall we saw the talent was much better in that middle of the defense. So maybe it's a spin job, but overall I think the rush defense looked improved, and I'm looking forward to seeing it now in week 2.
I 100% agree with you. So here's the difference.
Week 0.
Yeah,
week 0.
That's a wild thing.
So
yeah.
So here. I agree with you. And people don't understand how good Bear Alexander really is. And people don't understand how explosive he really is until you see him in person. Bear Alexander looks like one of those freak athletes. Bear Alexander is about 6'6", but he looks like he only weighs 220, and he moves fast. And so the difference between this year's defense and last year's defense is they gave up a lot of runs up the middle. The big runs weren't up the middle. The big runs were on the edge. So they weren't able to run up the middle. And that's because of Bear Alexander. And tell me the defensive tackle. I'm sorry, Ryan. You're muted.
Jeez. My daughter's crying in the bathtub outside. Oh. So, no, Bear Alexander, Kyron Bars, and Jack Sullivan were kind of the 3 mainstays.
So those guys do make a difference. Now I will tell you this: number 13 is good. Number 13 on defense is good. Mason Cobb, is a dude. I haven't seen anybody run sideline to sideline at SC. Well, I will say this. Who was the linebacker last year? Number 10, Ryan.
Oh, Ralen Goforth?
Ralen Goforth. I'm going to give you guys a disclaimer. I'm not good with names, with rosters, so good thing we have Ryan on the show now. Ryan's the guy, yeah.
Ryan, you need to be working in election fact-checking stuff because your stuff is solid.
So Ralen Goforth.
It's in the press box, so I have it all in front of me all the time, so that helps.
Ralen Goforth ran sideline to sideline last year. I thought he was – I was hoping he would have stayed because he would have been really good, beneficial to the defense this year. But Mason Cobb plays like Ray Maluga. There's no stopping him.
That's a ferocious guy.
Yeah, it's 100%.
He led the Big 12 in tackles last year. I mean,
he's 100% the whole time. When you watch
You're already seeing glimpses of this.
Yes, when you watch him in person, he's all over the field. He's all go all the time, runs off the field. I didn't see him walk once. Third down, he's jogging off the field. Like he's all go all the time. 13 is really good. So schematically, he's put in bad positions in my opinion, but him playing like football, him as a football player, great pickup. And he's going to be a key to the success for USC.
Here's a fun Mason Cobb story that's like the most USC thing ever. So I was at Pac-12 Media Day back in July out in Vegas, and it was him and Caleb and Lincoln were the three guys out there. And first of all, you can just tell how stoked he is to be at USC. Like he would not wipe that smile off his face. Like you love when you see kids that are just so excited to play football for the Trojans. And he was, just thrilled. He was just smiling ear to ear. But one of the first questions was like, how you liking your time at SC? Like, how's it going? And his response, I'm paraphrasing, but basically like, oh, it's been great. I love the culture. It was cool coming to Vegas. We flew in on our private jet, blah, blah, blah. I was like, that's the most USC thing ever. Coming in on your private jet, just Lincoln, Caleb, and Mason Cobb flying, they're not flying coach at SC. I was like, that's so SC. I love it.
Very SC.
That's so funny that they can say that now. Because they wouldn't have been able to say that when a couple. Yep. So before we get to the negative, we always start with the positive. Before we get to the negative, Candice, did you have breakfast this morning?
Sadly, I did. I did.
I didn't.
I'm waiting on my re-up.
I didn't. I took AG1. So
did you?
I had AG1 this morning. I always go with AG1. Why do I go with AG1?
Tell me why AG1 is that deal.
Because, first of all, AG1, I have to be on the job site 5:30 in the morning, right? AG1 has all the vitamins, all the nutrients, all the antibodies that you need in order to have great gut health. But it also keeps you full, tastes great, and it keeps me from stopping at a drive-thru on my way to work at 5:30 in the morning for a quick breakfast. It gets me through that 9 a.m. wall for those people who work early in the morning. Know by the time 9 a.m. comes, you get hungry again. I'm still able to power through and have enough energy. And I know that I'm putting something into my body that is good for me and it's not preservatives and all the salty food. AG1 is offering 5 free travel packs, which are first purchase, as long as vitamin D. And if you join them today, they will also give you a welcome pack. If you want to try AG1, go to drinkag1.com/salute your Troy. And once again, that's drinkag1.com/salute your Troy. Your girl Candice loves AG1. She loves AG1. Yes.
Al, I'm going to just tell you people right now, if you don't have AG1, have a couple days with it and have a couple days without it, okay? Because I'm waiting for the second re-up, and I had a figure 8 donut and a Celsius, and my day has been very terrible, okay? My weight room performance was like this. I love that AG1. I wish I would have had that in college. Heck, I've been giving it to my high school football players. We're number 25 in the country, number 1 in the state of Michigan. Just had to pub that. And they eat hot Cheetos and Faygo. So I'm trying to tell you. Breakfast and Skittles because Marshawn Lynch did it. But that's a whole other thing. I'm just trying to tell you, if you don't have AG1, get it in your life. Quit playing with yourself. Cut your grocery bill and your Starbucks. You'll be thanking me later. And then take that extra money and bet. And where should they bet, Al?
That's Bet Online. BetOnline.ag. Promo code BELIEVE.
Look at that. Say it with the chest. I got this over here.
Company girl. All right, here we go. So we're going to move into the bad, and I'm going to start this off. So I'm not going to start where you think I'm going to start. I think Lincoln Riley was too conservative on offense this past Saturday. When he started, he was really
explain yourself.
I am. When he started, he was really conservative. He wasn't running his offense. They moved down the field on the first drive just because they were better than San Jose State. But Lincoln Riley gets into these things at times to where he wants to get cute. So he wanted to show off all his new toys instead of just going and doing what he does. So he was kind of showing off his new toys, and it wasn't really the time to show off his new toys. Like, just do what you do and go dominate. Right, so the second half came and he really got into his mode, and then the score suits for itself. And he does that at times. He gets fancy sometimes, and that's kind of his kryptonite, to where his mind is always going and he has these new ideas and he wants to do these new ideas, but he just needs to go with what works, right?
It's kind of the Sean McVay syndrome. Sean McVay does it with the Rams all the time.
Yeah, like he wants to get pretty, like, run power with Austin Jones. Austin Jones is a downhill back. Like, just run power with Austin Jones. You don't have to give him all this other stuff. Run power, run counter, run inside zone. That's all you have to do with Austin Jones. He'll get you 6, right? And then eventually he'll pop one for you. He might not score a touchdown, but he'll get about 45 for you, and that's what he does, right? Get the ball in space to all these other guys. Like, he just gets real cute, like some coaches will say in the industry.
You wanted to see all that in game 0. That's what you wanted to see.
No, I just wanted to see him just do what he does. Like, he didn't have to show off his new toys. Like, if he just let the kids play and not get real cute and try to get creative.
You think he got? I think he was. The coach in me sees him letting these kids play, and now he can really build around that because
he let him play in the second half. In the first half, it was kind of like, man, like, this needs to really get going. It was kind of stagnant for a little bit. Like, it wasn't really like, you know what I mean? Like, then once he let it go, it was like, oh, okay, this is who we came to see. Like, all right, it's perfect. So that's just, that's my observation. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and you're a coach and a former athlete and a Rose Bowl champion and everything else. So your eyes are very critical. That's the deer goggle students the second quarter. They're like, wait, what happened?
Definitely.
Yeah. I agree with you. Just to play devil's advocate, like, I see it as, and this is no disrespect to a San Jose State or a Nevada next week, but you see it all the time. Like, you use this first game to kind of really get a feel of like what you have in certain instances. Like, how good Caleb is, how good Dorian Singer can be, how good Austin Jones is, but you want to see like, okay, where does Zachariah really fit within this offense? Like, how do we utilize Mario Williams in this? Which starting 5 on the offensive line are going to be our starting 5 up against Utah in like week 8, right? Like, we're rotating 8 right now. So I agree with you, but if I'm just playing devil's advocate, I see it more of he's almost using that first half as like an extended practice just to like really iron out who's going to be your next. That sounds so disrespectful to a San Jose State who's actually
I was just about to say that. You said no disrespect to San Jose State, but then you guys were in practice.
Because
that's why USC is paying him $2 million to come down to the Collie to play.
Thank you. They got a nice Cash App drop straight to their account. They not about it.
Is that what the payout was? $2 million?
Oh, I have no idea.
More than that. Oh,
I have no idea. Probably more.
USC inflation. It was $2 million when they played Fresno State, and Reggie ran it up 72 points. That's not flying anymore. So if we getting a beat down on national television, you're gonna pay us right. Week 0, everybody's watching us. No one else. So
yeah. Well, except that it was on the Pac-12 network, so nobody saw it. But
nobody saw it.
That's another story.
Pac-4? You said the Pac-4.
Pac-4 network, yeah.
Pac-4 network.
Yeah, they might have dropped that 12.
It was on Tubi. It was airing on Tubi or whatever those other random streaming services are. What you got, Al? What's our next negative? You want me to throw one in here?
Yeah, go ahead and throw one in.
So I would say, and we talked about this on the live stream, I mentioned it, but I would say for now the offensive line. I think it's a work in progress. I'm not worried about it. I think it will get good. Like I said yesterday, I think last year's offensive line looked a little sluggish to start, and they became one of the best in the Pac-12. I have confidence that'll happen again. They're just finding their right starting 5. But at this point, week 0, that was definitely not a elite offensive line for what they want to do moving forward.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So we talked about this with some of my players today, and we're talking about O-line. And does the O-line get better, and then it solidifies, Caleb has free reign? Or if the O-line doesn't get better, Caleb still is who he is, but he has to scramble more. He has to do all these things. He still becomes Heisman Trophy. So if this O-line improves, does that allow Caleb to show us how great he is even more?
Yes and yes.
Oh, okay.
I agree with you. The O-line gets better than – so here's a couple of things that kind of – I don't know if people paid attention to. There was a couple of times where Caleb was just in the pocket. They dropped 8 and nobody was open because there's only 4 receivers that had 8 people in coverage, and he was just in the pocket, and he didn't scramble. Like, he legit, kept his eyes downfield. Like, all right, I'm going to throw the ball. But he was unable
9 seconds.
Yeah, he was unable to throw the ball, and so he just scrambled. So that's the thing that that is one of Caleb's biggest, like, that's one of the best things he does is the fact that he keeps his eyes downfield the whole time. Even when he's scrambling, his eyes are downfield. And you could compare him to another quarterback in the NFL, a 2-time Super Bowl champion, who kind of does the same thing. But I think Caleb does it. I don't know if he does it a little bit better because they play on 2 different levels. But for college, he does it. He's one of the best in college to do it right now because the way he keeps his eyes downfield. So if he has 5 in front of him that's protecting him and nobody's open, he's going to have a bunch of rushing yards, right? If he doesn't have 5 that's protecting him, he's still going to have a bunch of rushing yards. But here's the difference. If he doesn't have 5 protecting him and you send a 6-man pressure and you're dropping 7 and somebody comes open, he'll have passing yards too, right? So that's the good thing about him. When he scrambles, it also breaks receivers open, like Ben Roethlisberger.
That's my other point. To their inefficient line, his strengths, he plays off of that. So
right.
If you take it away and give him this safe, nice pocket with this great offensive line, you're right. He still makes plays happen, but just throwing that out there.
But here's the thing: if you don't protect him, what's the biggest thing that you have to worry about?
Injuries.
There you go. It's him staying healthy, and you want him to stay healthy. We don't want a Pac-12 championship from last year again. Like we don't want Sugar Bowl they were in. We don't want that last year. Yeah. We want a 100%. Alamo. It was
Cotton Bowl.
Cotton Bowl.
I have like faint PTSD about what the bowl even was.
Yeah, it was,
yeah. So we don't want another Cotton Bowl. Like we want a college football playoff appearance with a healthy Caleb Williams, right? So we get a healthy Caleb Williams, that changes everything. You get an unhealthy Caleb Williams, so the whole goal is we want the line to get better, so Caleb Williams stays healthy.
There we go.
So that's how you put it. Another thing I'm going to bring up is, here's one thing I'm going to bring up. I'm going to bring up 2 things for the defense. Here's my first thing for the defense.
One thing, but 2 things?
We're on to the improvements, right? We're transitioning.
The improvements, yes. Here's the first thing about the defense.
We're on number 3 improvement, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the first thing about the defense. And it's week 0, right? So as it being week 0, first game of the year, you're getting playing shape, you're getting your feet wet, you're playing in front of 63,000 people. It might have been the first time for some of them. It's the first time in a long time that you've done it. You have to eliminate the big plays. There were a lot of big plays given up by the defense, and that was just blown coverage, lack of communication, new guys on the defense. You have to talk. You eliminate the big plays, like Ryan said earlier. They didn't really give up a lot of big running plays, right? They gave up 1 big running play. You eliminate the big plays, you go into that low percentage play to where you want to start throwing the ball. You take care of that, that's fine. You know what I mean? They have to eliminate big plays. And I'll give them a pass. And that's the thing, that's more of a coaching point. Like, hey, y'all want to get better? Eliminate the big play. You start eliminating the big play, we start just giving up less than 28. Just like that. They eliminate the big play. The scores, what was it, 52-14 on Saturday? Like, you easily get rid of 2 touchdowns. So just eliminate the big play. And I think once you eliminate the big play, I think there'll be a lot of ease on the defense of criticism. So that's where I am with that one.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. That was the big story to me, was the big plays, and one of that was that 3rd and 22 QB scramble, and you look at the film on that, and Grinch was aggressive. They blitzed one. Cobb was your QB spy, and Cobb read it wrong. I mean, he went to the left side of the line. The QB scrambled to the right, and it was wide open, and he ran for 27 or whatever for the first down. So it's little things of scheme, but also execution. Like, I thought it was good to be aggressive on that play, 3rd and forever. Like, why not send an extra blitzer? You just need your QB spy to kind of read it correctly. And, Cobb's new in the system, and we just said earlier how great he is and how great he's going to be. He just kind of read that situation wrong, or he himself got a little aggressive and stepped up too high. So you fix those little things, and yeah, you're taking 14 points off the board, maybe even 21 points off the board. And then everyone's talking about how great the defense looks, how improved they look. So, 3 plays make a huge difference.
I mean, next year, you know his name, Ryan. The QB from San Jose, I don't want to mess it up.
Cordario.
He was decent. He was pretty good.
Yeah, he's good. He's been there. He's been there a while. He's good.
Yeah, I thought he was. I mean, I thought he was pretty good, and I don't know. I guess I'm just trying.
He's a senior, so I mean, he's been there. He probably played SC 3 years ago when they were here.
Low key, COVID. Let's just keep it real. These COVID kids out here, they're like literally 27 years old. So he could be a super COVID team.
They're not 27. They just got one extra year. They get 6 years instead of 5.
Imagine if I can go back and get a COVID year.
I'll take a COVID.
Isn't Sam Hartman like Notre Dame's quarterback? He's like 30. He's been in he's been in college forever.
Well, when we talk about Oregon, we're gonna have to talk about that sorry dude from Auburn.
Oh, Bo Nix,
Bo Nix, and then the quarterback from Utah. They've been there 37 years.
Cam Rising.
They're like the Shane Battier years of college football.
Don't go away.
So, the second thing I'm going to say is, this is where I'm going to get hard. Alex Grinch gets paid too much money to have such a bad scheme. It's a little frustrating, and maybe it works. You know what I mean? And I look at the stuff, and a lot of people say, well, when he got to Oklahoma, he got better. He got the defense better. Yeah, he did get the defense better because they were giving up a bunch of points. But they're not the goal is to be elite, right? And he's not putting them in a situation schematically for them to be elite. They went and got talent. I'm not taking that away from them, but just schematically, like the scheme is not sound to me. And maybe I just need to sit down with him, and I would love to. No, seriously, I love to sit down with him. Like, just talk to me and tell me what you do and how does this work, and why are you doing, and what's your theory behind this, right? And I'll be respectful about it, but I need to understand his scheme, because watching it schematically, it's just not sound and puts the team in a bad situation. So, like, to me, it's just like, dude, like, you have to come up with a better scheme. Like, just stay simple. Like, he tries to get cute on defense. You can get cute on offense. You can't get cute on defense, because the rules are set up for the offense to succeed. People want to see 52-49. People don't want to see 3-10. You see a 3-10 game, they say, oh, the game was so boring, blah, 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 this and that. Nobody scored. They want to see a lot of points. Don't give up points. Let them score 52. Let us give up 14, and let's keep moving. I just don't like his scheme on defense from the outside looking in, and just from what I'm seeing, like, it has to get better. It has to get sound. It's just not sound, and I think he overcomplicated. And you can't overcomplicate defense. You have to keep it simple. Like, defenses are one of the things you got to keep simple, because there's so much going on. Not only that, you got 4 players playing backwards, right? And then you're also reactive. So you have to react off what the offense is doing. Compared to the offense, they're not reactive. They know what they're doing before the ball is snapped, right? And you're guessing. Like, you have to put them in the best situation possible and keep them from overthinking. And I think there's a lot of overthoughts, a lot of checks, and it just isn't sound to me. Yeah, that's me on my soapbox.
That's been the storyline with him.
Yeah, it also seems like the fans aren't happy with this Grinch guy as well. I mean, I just did a little bit of scrolling, and I'm like, you don't want LA fans not liking you. Especially some of them actually know football, but a majority of them just have money and want to see a good game.
Yeah, it's tough, because he's such a just person. He's a good dude. I love interacting with him as a media, because he's one of those, you have those coaches, right? You ask a question and they give you a 5-word answer. Like, Alex Grinch, every answer is 5 minutes long, because he's going overboard, telling you exactly what they're trying to do with the scheme, with their players, who they're evaluating. He's giving you names on everyone. He's extremely respectful. So it's I really do like the guy, but it's just not good enough for what USC should be. And it doesn't even, the sad thing is, it doesn't have to be a top 5 defense. They just need to be top 50. That's all they need to be. Is if they're a top 50 defense, this is a national title team.
Yeah.
And that's the name of the game, right? So when the players are balling, your boy Cobb and Bear, they get the recognition. The offense is balling. You guys named 17 offensive players, and we rarely mention, Lincoln Riley. Yeah, sure, he's got some strategy, but we highlight this player. So that's just the name of the game. No one's blaming those 18-year-old boys out there for maybe the miss, the reads, the tackles, whatever. Al's been very fair. We don't know. But Alex, we you a grown man. We're going to need you to tighten up. Okay. We need this good donor money. USC is a private institution. Okay.
Do you know what the USC theme is this year? Every I don't know if every sports team, but football, you always have a theme or a quote for the year. Do you know what it is?
Mm-hmm. No, I don't.
It's the longer it goes, the better we get is their theme. Because last year, remember they were last in the league in fourth quarter points. They gave up 10 plus points per game. Obviously, the Tulane game was, they collapse in the fourth quarter. So that was like the big theme at Media Day. And, we'll see if it comes to fruition. It's hard to say this week because it was all, backups in the fourth quarter. So we can't really put anything on that. So we'll see how that actually looks going forward.
See, that's just overthinking. You know what one of our models was when we was there with Coach Carroll? Finish.
No, they went into that. And this is all just now we're getting to like philosophy and Socrates and stuff. But they kept saying like we don't want to have the mantra of finish because that's saying we're looking at the end goal. Like we're saying as long as it goes, we're still getting better. So this thing could go to double overtime, triple overtime. Like we're not looking at where's the finish line and then we let up. We're looking at just like we just keep getting better. So I bought into it. I was hyped up.
Okay. I respect it. Now that
they got you drinking the Kool-Aid, Ryan. They got you.
I'm drinking it.
Be right there to prove it.
Hey, that's just right. Finish. I
don't know. I like finish. I don't know. Especially as an athlete, you like to have that in. Sometimes over time.
But I mean, you're a world class sprinter, so you legit have a finish line. Like there's a legit finish line.
Legit.
Hey, in football, it's like you don't want to look at it like we're trying to get to that zeros on the clock. It's like no, we're just going full board, like no matter what, past the whistle.
I get that though, because at the end of the day, you don't know where you're going to finish because you can only control, right, the 12 games you have on your schedule. Well, 13 now if you include the championship. So you don't know where you're going. And now you have to play a game to get to the national championship. So I respect it. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid too, Candice. I respect it. I'm with it.
Got the glass. When I get to LA, I'll have to get on it.
There you go. We'll have a shirt waiting for you.
There you go. Perfect. Hey, so we got our the goods, we got our bads out. Let's just do one more quick recap about Saturday. I want to start with the world class athlete. I want to hear your opinion about Saturday. Tell me real quick. Tell me what you think about Saturday. What you thought about Saturday?
Honestly, it made me a bit less critical and a little bit of a Lincoln Riley fan. I've been looking for, my Pete Carroll era. Ogeron, Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin. These are guys. I was just telling my team, like they raised me. I was in the locker room with them. I was doing 2-a-days. Like these were coaches that would come out to the track, and Pete Carroll and Keyshawn Johnson would like take my dog. I mean, it was like true family. So I had a lot of skeptic towards Lincoln Riley. There's no hiding that I feel a certain way about people coming in that aren't already inclusive in. But to be fair, Sarkisian and all them were outsiders at one time too, right? So Lincoln Riley. Yeah, okay. Don't come from my guy.
Yeah. Pete was an outsider.
So I pride myself in having some very high standards because USC, I mean, we are a prestigious world-renowned university.
9.9% acceptance rate.
9.9. That's as elite as it gets, except for Long Beach. Like, I didn't even know. They wouldn't even accept me. But, yeah. I was happy to see.
We weren't good enough for you, so you're good.
I think I might have prejudged him a little bit too much and seeing what they were 4 and give me the good
8, 4, 9. 4 and 8, 4, 9.
Like yeah.
I'm a bit of a coach, and I know the type of work, I know the type of hours, I know the type of sacrifice that this man has been putting into making sure he came out and gave the Coliseum a show. So I'm almost a Lincoln Riley fan. It's week 0, so let's not get too crazy.
Yes.
And I'll be a big fan if he lets my boy Zachariah come over to the track team.
Hey, he might.
Put that out there in the universe.
You might. No, I love Lincoln. I'm a huge Lincoln guy, but yes, I think you make a fair point because you got to prove it. And he's had success offensively, but they've no college playoff wins. He's been to 2. Defensively, has never gotten over the hump, but I think this is his chance to truly prove it. And I think what he was able to instill culture-wise has been tremendous. And the biggest thing, I think we talked about it yesterday a little bit, but with Clay Helton, I know no one likes to talk about him, but what his biggest thing was, right? Like who he recruited, like he stuck with that guy, right, wrong, or indifferent. And, I get the loyalty. Like I know he was a good dude and he's a really good guy, but this is SC, you got to win games. And I think Lincoln's already proven, like, I don't give a F, like the best players playing. Like Zachariah's a freshman. Mario, you came with me from Oklahoma. Zachariah's getting more reps because he's just better. And so I think that is that winning culture that they've kind of built up, which has been good.
Here's a little stat of what football does for your school. In 2022, 64,256 students applied to USC.
How many?
64,256 students applied to USC. Right? In 2023, 80,790 students applied to go to USC.
So almost 20,000 more.
20,000 more.
And look what it was in like 2020. It was probably like 20,000 in the peak Clay Helton era. That's crazy.
I have a respect for him. I prejudged him a little bit, but I don't coach Pac-4 football teams or anything, but to see the strategy and also knowing that how competitive the market is for these NILs, for this transfer portal, he nailed it. Every single coach had same access to all these players. And also not just having to take the best talent, picking and pulling guys based off of what he sees and how it could grow. And that's what there's been a consistent theme of what USC is going to grow into just in the next 2 seasons, not just what it is now. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he puts together. Yeah, I'm not going to be a vote for Pete shirt or anything. I mean, a vote for Riley. You ain't going to see me in that.
What about you, Ryan? What do you take away from Saturday?
Yeah, I think I'll say this. I've been covering the team now for 3 years. Followed the team obviously a lot longer than that. Been in LA since 2008. And this is the most that I can remember. Maybe not in those early 08, 09 years, but I was, not as close to the team. So in the most recent, probably decade, the most hype and excitement I've seen around this team, and you could feel it at the Coliseum. I know it wasn't like a quote unquote sellout, what do we say? 65,000 there for a week 0 game against San Jose State. Yeah, around there, 65 or so. But just in the city of LA, like you walk the streets and it's like, you can tell this is, the Rams are, 2 years removed from the Super Bowl. Yeah, the Chargers are, Justin Herbert. There's a lot of excitement, but this is definitely a Trojan town when it comes to football. And it feels like that again, which it didn't 5 years ago. I mean, no one gave a rat's ass about the Trojans 5 years ago just because they hadn't been good and they were in turmoil. And now with everything Lincoln Riley's done in such a short time, I think that's been my biggest takeaway from Saturday is like you could feel it in the stadium. Like people are pumped up and excited and all the alumni are back involved. I mean, 2-3 years ago, alumni didn't even go to games. And here we are at this. You see all the alumni. Mark Sanchez doing the coin toss. I saw my guy Frost Ruck cruising the stadium. Obviously Sua Cravens and Cody Kessler and all those guys are doing the Trojan tailgate show. And again, I'm even less of a Pac-4 coach than you are, Candice. I have no connection to that. All I can do is speak on what I see and who I know. But, I've talked to Frost, my buddy, a lot, and he said, like, as soon as Lincoln was hired, like, his big thing was getting the former players back involved because there was such a disconnect in the last years. And so he's done a really good job of, like, making sure the alumni is back involved, having that Trojan family kind of back, involved within the program and with the players. And you can feel that at the college. So, not a football answer, Coach Rowe, but that's kind of what my vibe from Saturday.
Jen, take notes, but I want to touch on this real quick.
Oh, leave Jen alone.
USC football is good for college football. And everything that Ryan just said, USC is winning. People are happy. People are excited. In US, like Los Angeles, they make this a football town. There's so many things that you could be doing. A Dodgers game, an Angels game. You can do tons of things, but people filling that Coliseum, LA feels better. So if crime is down in South Central because the Trojans are winning, let's go.
Don't you ever put the Angels in LA again. Don't you ever do that again.
My bad. It takes just as long to get from USC to Dodgers as it does to get to Anaheim with traffic. Hands down. Got it? You can be in Anaheim in the amount of time you sit on Figueroa for 62 minutes to get to Dodger Stadium. Facts.
I don't care.
That's why you don't take Figueroa.
Yeah.
Facts.
The Angels
take the train.
Take the shuttle. The Angels are not LA's team.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Listen, Candice. I just want to before I go, I just want to let you know this because you're from Michigan. You don't know. Okay. The Angels, Clippers, Chargers, and UCLA does not matter in LA. They're just here for the media deal. That's all they're here for. Just remember that. Anyway, so this is what I'm going to take away. There's one thing. And I mentioned this to you on Saturday, Ryan. The TV seats are full. If you were watching the game from TV, you would think that the thing was sold out. The seats are full all the way up to the top of the Coliseum. USC is back, right? And people are happy to be there, and they have the potential to be the hottest ticket in town, like we talked about on Sunday. There is a bunch of talent on the field, and it's only week 0, and pregame jitters, right? It was just a measuring stick game, but the way they set up the schedule is to get better, right? They like, I'm going to pull one of Ryan's lines. No disrespect to any of these schools, but SC has 3 preseason games before they get into the grunt of their season, right? So they have the ability to get really good at game speed reps and be a really, really competitive football team, right? I know you're going to hear all they're in the Pac-12 and this and that. It is what it is. Like they're in this year. Yeah, the Pac-12 has multiple quarterbacks that are good. Pac-12 has plenty of talent that's good. People talk about how the Pac-12 disbanded. Do you know who's the biggest loser of the Pac-12 disbanding? Oregon State. Oregon State's been on a 3-year surge for the past 3 years of being a very good competitive football team. They're not going to go win a national championship or anything.
Oregon State's going to be in the Pac-12 title this year against USC. That's my prediction.
You think so? Yeah, Oregon State has been on a upward trend for a very long time, and the conference disbanded. Now they have nowhere to go, and nobody wants to take a chance on them because you're like, well, how long can this last, right? Is this just because you got a good class, this and that? Neither here nor there. As what I saw on Saturday was what I played in, what I knew as a kid, right? They're getting out of the funk, and people are still going to be kind of skeptical, and they're like, it's just San Jose State. They should have won. It's just Nevada. They should have won. It's Stanford. They should have won. Stanford game is going to be packed because people know this is the last weekender. So if you want to see a packed Coliseum the first time in a long time, go to Stanford because this is the last weekender, right? You're going to get into the crux of the season and figure out that this is a legit football team. By the time they come back from Boulder and they have to play Arizona, and Arizona has a very good quarterback, that's going to be their first true test. I'm not worried about Colorado, Shedeur Sanders, and all that. He was sorry at Jackson State. He's not going to be good in the Pac-12. But Arizona, first test. Then they have to go to Notre Dame. Then they have to play Utah. Then they get a break with Cal. Then they have to play UW. Then they have to play Oregon. Then they have to play UCLA. They're going to go through a gauntlet from October 14th to November 18th. They're going to go through a gauntlet for a whole month. But they have a week 0 game. They have enough games to get them ready. They have enough games to figure out what they want to do. But by the time they play UCLA and ready for the Pac-12 championship, they're going to be battle tested and playoff ready. Like, this is not just a team that everybody is like, oh, they're just a Pac-12 team. Nah, this isn't just a Pac-12 team. This is a national contender, and they have the talent to be a national contender, right? I may be critical, but I was taught in one of my trainings at work, if you're gonna reprimand, you got to give a bone. Here's the bone that I'm going to give. They are a national championship contending team. This is a legit national championship contending team. This is a team that you have to worry about. If they make the playoff, can they win it? Can they beat Georgia? Can they beat Alabama? That question I don't know yet because I haven't seen Georgia or Alabama play. Last year they weren't able to beat Georgia or Alabama. They weren't there yet. But what I saw and what they're becoming, they're becoming a team that could compete with those two teams. I'm not worried. I just want them to get better. I'm an alumni. I played there. I understand what USC football is about. I grew up in South Central LA, 48th and Avalon. When the Coliseum was rocking, I could hear it from my house at my house. I am a true fan. I grew up with this. So when I am the way I am, it comes from a way deeper place than you, Candice. I'm sorry. But at the end of the day,
you're right. I had to marry myself into Los Angeles. There's all.
But at the end of the day, they're where they need to be. They're where they need to be, and they're in a good spot. And I'm not worried. I
hear you saying, Al, is that Alabama fans are going to be rooting for UW to take Washington down. To take USC down. What I hear you saying is Georgia fans are going to be rooting for UCLA to take SC down.
I think before that, I think when they go to South.
Yeah.
Every week when the AP polls are coming out, we're going to gain fans in Tuscaloosa, in Athens, in Gainesville, wherever they're at, hoping USC comes down.
I think when they play Notre Dame, they're gonna be like, oh, this is the first test, and they're gonna drop like 60 on Notre Dame. I saw Notre Dame's offense. It's not fighting words. I saw Notre Dame's offense. It's a very methodical offense. It's not very explosive. They had maybe 4 big plays, maybe because they were playing Navy. But I need to see Notre Dame play a legit contender and see if they're able to compete. I'm not scared of Notre Dame. I'm not scared of anybody right now until I see them play. I saw USC play, and I know the potential that USC has, right? So this is the first week, right? So this is week 1, and we get to see all those games, right? Now, here's the deal. Alabama's going to play Backyard State University. Georgia's going to play Backyard State University, and they're going to blow them out by –
Write that check.
Right. They're going to blow them out by 70.
Pie you.
Yeah, they're going to blow them out by 70, and they're going to be like, oh, Alabama, Georgia's the elite teams. No. Play a group of 6 school on your opening games. Do like we do. Like we're not playing 1AA universities. We're playing group 6 schools. And
it's Mountain West.
Yeah, and they're not just any team in the Mountain West. They're probably going to be competing for a Mountain West title.
Yeah.
So that's
San Jose State was runner up last year.
Yeah.
They said they think they'll win the conference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
and just to be fair, they put up 28 points. So if that's not good for their confidence, whoever they're going to take on, I didn't look at their schedule, but they're going to dog walk them because we won't see
how good Notre Dame is until September 23rd when they play Ohio State. Notre Dame plays
they're
Tennessee.
Good for having the grass long. They're going to put on their shiny.
No, they have turf now. They have turf now.
They're going to have touchdown Jesus just with all the prayers. So.
Notre Dame.
I'll be there.
Notre Dame plays Tennessee State, North Carolina State, Central Michigan, and then Ohio State. So
Central Michigan.
Exactly. So
State.
Like
easy.
All check games. So I'm not worried. You know what I mean? Like we'll find out when we get deep into the fall and where we really are. But this is a competitive team that's going to be competing for the national ranks. If they're
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I want to see a USC team that executes. And me living on this side of the country, they got this soft schedule. Oh, they're in the Pac-12. Oh, this, oh, that. Caleb Williams in the grade because cool. Well, let us execute on some stuff, and then we'll come and see you in your backyard, Athens, wherever you want to line up at. So I'm excited to see some nice execution.
Well, we get lucky next year because they play LSU. But go ahead, Ryan.
That's right. I just want to end with this question because Candice brought it up. Like, how much shit does like Michigan and the Midwest talk about SC? Because you hear it all the time nationally is we're soft, Pac-12,
I can
LA.
tell you right now, Braylan Edwards, who I hope you're listening, Braylan, who is probably all of 27 miles north from me, he's like, oh, y'all boys going to get dog walked. Are we really? Because I was at my very first Rose Bowl, Braylan Edwards, and you did not win.
I'm about to say, ex-Braylan Edwards, what happened when he came and saw us in the Rose Bowl?
I remember being so torn because I'm like, damn, I grew up in Ann Arbor, 7 years old, going to the big house. Brady was the QB. Like, that was life. And now I'm at USC, and these are my friends. Matt Leinert's my friend. Frosty Rucker's my friend. Ronald, these are my friends. And then I was like, oh, my gosh, we're good. We're real good. So the big house, they're a bit overrated. They can't move like your boy Zachariah. They can't. Yep. They don't have it. They Midwest boys. Now it will be a different climate next year when your boy Jim starts picking people from Mater Dei, De La Salle, Long Beach Poly. They're now going to be like, oh, come to Ann Arbor. Your parents will get to see you play. So that's a whole nother conversation.
Candice, ain't nobody. Jim ain't coming to Long Beach Poly. It's not what he used to be.
Not coming.
No, Jim's
you guys got spanked this weekend, right?
Dog walked 16 to 15 to Bishop.
Hey, but you got like the what's it called, the American Game of the Week this week against Mission Viejo, you guys' rival.
Well, no. All right, so Mission. So
aren't they number one?
Huh?
Mission, aren't they number one?
No, they're not. No.
Modern day probably is. But Mission Viejo is always pretty good.
So when I was talking to Mark's dad at the game, because Mark was there, and Ryan blew his opportunity. I said, "Hey, you want to come talk to Mark Sanchez?" And he was like, "Uh-huh." And then
I was making a damn chili dog, and you like caught me off guard. I didn't know you were saying.
And then Ryan's like, Mark Sanchez is my guy. John David Moody's my guy. Get it straight.
I turn around and Ryan's not there, and I'm talking to Mark, and then I'm talking to Mark's dad. I'm like, yeah, we play Mission Viejo. He's like, it's not the same. All our good players are at Bosco and Mater Dei. He's like, it's the same thing for you. So it will be a good game because it's equally talented. So it's not the same.
Yeah.
We'll talk. We'll have that talk about what the CIF did, and it's pretty much destroyed high school football in Southern California.
Yeah.
Destroyed it.
Yeah.
So yeah. But definitely, hey, it's been a pleasure, you guys. It's always fun. Congratulations, Candice, on being the softball champion.
You know, lightweight USA softball. If you're looking for just a pinch runner, come get your girl. Okay? Because I definitely can't catch. I definitely can't throw, but I can get to a base. Not a problem.
Ryan, I appreciate you. This is going to be fun this season. We're going to have a bunch of fun. You guys tune in, subscribe, like, leave all your comments. We actually do respond. Sooner fan. No, but yeah, definitely. No, it's been fun. I appreciate you guys. This has been the Bet Online Salute Detroit podcast. We will see you guys on Friday. Live free, fight on.